John Carpenter's The Fog.
To the ships at sea who can hear my voice, look across the water into the darkness. Look for the fog.
John Carpenter's The Fog.
This is KAB, Antonio Bay. Stevie Wayne here, and let me be the first to wish Antonio Bay a happy birthday. We're 100 years old today, and keep a watch out for that fog bank heading in from the east.
100 years ago, between midnight and 1, something unknown came out of the fog. Now it has returned.
Oh, Jesus.
100 years ago, between midnight and 1, something unnatural came out of the fog. Now it has returned. years ago, between midnight and 1, something evil came out of the fog. Now it has returned.
Who's there?
The fog.
Antonio Bay has a curse on it. We're all cursed. There's no water getting here, but something awful cold did.
I think I'll go to Vancouver now.
Where's the fog now?
Well, it should be right outside my door now.
Oh, there's something different about this fog. Dan, stay away from the door! Someone listen to me!
Get inside and lock your doors. Close your windows. There's something in the fog. Stay away from the fog. From the creator of Halloween, the ultimate experience in terror and suspense. John Carpenter's The Fog, starring Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, John Houseman, Janet Leigh as Kathy Williams, and Hal Holbrook as Father Malone. The Fog. What you can't see won't hurt you. It will kill you. Between midnight and 1, it will find you.
Toronto, Cannes, Berlin, and Sundance, everybody chat about good movies, chat about good movies, chat about good movies, good movies, good movies. Hey, what's up? Sorry, I just saw how low I had the volume for all of that pre-show, so you kind of heard it. I didn't see until the theme music started playing. Alright. Hey, welcome to the Good Movie Chat About, where we have good chats about good movies with sometimes good guests, sometimes it's just me, and that's what it is this week. And you know what? It's gonna be a good show. How's everybody doing this week? I had a great time on the stream last night. I don't know if any of you were here for that. Almost finished. I'm getting increasingly nervous to pick it up. It's getting heavy, but almost finished the Botanical Gardens from Lego. It's looking real good, but the real highlight was that I snapped with my playlist last night, and I didn't even talk that much during the stream. I went nonverbal for most of it. So if you just want something good to put on in the background, or like the big highlights were the Lola Falana variety special, which we will be watching more of. I'm going to be finding more Lola Falana variety specials. And it's just like Platonic Ideal 1970s variety special, like cheesy sketches, maudlin singing, and then like insane production numbers. So yeah, we'll be watching more of those. And then we watched The Last Polka, which was a 1-hour parody originally made for HBO, but it's inspired by the SCTV characters, the Schmengi brothers, which were Eugene Levy and John Candy, playing polka. They're polka-playing brothers from a fake Eastern European country called Lutonia. And it was really funny. It also had Rick Moranis and Catherine O'Hara in it. It was a good time. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Check that out if you want. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, I don't think I'm going to upload it to YouTube, so you're going to have to go to my Twitch. Maybe I will. I don't know. Because it's just all other YouTube videos, so I don't want to tempt fate by doing that. And only one thing is muted in it. The Avant-Garde Dance Troops number is to a song that did get struck on the Twitch VOD. But that's the only thing. And so that's like less than 5 minutes. So I'm happy with that. The rest of it's all on there. But if you are watching this later on YouTube, please do remember to click like and subscribe. Check out, I have a playlist of all the old Good Movie Chatouts on there. You can, make sure to subscribe to that, or just, if you want to listen to old episodes. There's lots of good stuff in the back catalog, people. Check it out. I don't know why I'm being so thirsty right now about... I think it's just because I don't have anybody that I'm nervous about wanting to get to really quickly. So now I feel I can indulge in this part of it. But let's start with concessions, of course. And folks, orange cream Coke Zero. The best. Of course. Last week on the Red Line episode, if you want the lore on this orange cream Coke Zero and the amazing soda haul, feel free to check that out. I will say that, yes, I am again wearing my Dreamcast hat. That's basically the only hat I've worn since I've gotten it. And for today's episode, another Rucking Fountain special right here. This I can say with confidence, this movie will be discussed next month for Remake-tober. We will be watching and talking about John Carpenter's The Thing, in addition to The Thing from Another World, which I've never seen before, and I'm excited to watch for the first time as part of that stream. For Remake-tober, where I watch the original and remake of a horror classic, where both are good, though. It can't be like, yeah, they made a remake and then it was alright. Like, The Omen is one of my favorite horror movies. And I actually like the remake, but it was just, it's okay. It didn't set the world on fire. It wasn't like such a huge remake. It wasn't, like the other ones, like The Thing, or, got like Suspiria, stuff like that has like, both stand on their own, the original and the remake. So, that's what's coming up in October. But to start things off here, what we're gonna start with is we're gonna do a recap of what I watched since last week's stream. Okay, so let's check this out. All right, here I am on Letterboxd. So I was talking through this last week through obviously Red Line, what we talked about last week. Talking a lot about Kaiju Week, and because prior to that, I did Godzilla vs. Biollante, which was great. Got me into wanting to watch a lot more Heisei era Godzilla, so I did just go on ahead and finish through the series, and I watched Godzilla vs. Destroya either after... It might have been the same night that we did the stream. I think it was... After Abby and I finished doing the stream, we watched Godzilla vs. Destroya, or it might have been the next day, because I was saving it to watch with Abby, and I will say, this movie did kind of upset her, because our good friend Baby Godzilla, or Godzilla Jr., as he starts to be called, well, first of all, he becomes a full-grown Godzilla in this movie, so he's no longer a baby. He's like, because now Godzilla has been like mutated by like a fucking nuclear blast and a volcano or something. So he's all like glowing red. He looks so fucking cool. It's like the coolest Godzilla's ever looked. And he was still a baby. We're all still babies, King Ghidorah was once a baby, three-headed beast. They all were once babies, and all these kaijus. Maybe that's part of why Baby exists in the Heisei era, is to make us consider, all these kaijus as having once been babies. Think about it, everybody. But yeah, that Baby Godzilla is constantly under a barrage of attacks, and it gets real bad for him at parts. But anyway, I think that might be my favorite Godzilla movie, Godzilla vs. Destroya. I loved it so much, and it was such a satisfying, among the most satisfying conclusions of a series of serialized films that I can think of. It ties up the Heisei era so well. Love Godzilla vs. Destroy Us. So 5 stars on that. All right. Naked Gun. Let's get into it. So 3.5 stars. Oh my god, what? Is he mid on it? It's sort of. The things that I liked about it, I loved. Okay? Like, the actual just, like separate everything, quality of jokes, amount of jokes that are of good quality, and the quality of those jokes. Great. I mean, it's just one after another. Boom, 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 boom. And there's so many really good ones. I don't even want to spoiler it if people haven't seen it yet. I don't want to go into specifics about what those jokes are. The lead performances. Liam Neeson, Pam Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser, and CCH Pounder. All right. Fantastic. Across the board. Special shout out to Pam. Again, fantastic. She's so good. And Liam Neeson as well. Really, really good. Where I have issues is it just does feel a little underbaked. Okay, the credits start rolling. I look at what time I'm at the movie, and it's 1 hour and 17 minutes. And, like, there are a couple of jokes in the credits, and then there is a post-credits little gag as well, to stick around for. So by the time that hits, it's like 1 hour 24 or something. And I get it. People love that this movie's short, and I don't want it to be even 1 hour 40 or 1 hour 45. But to me, the story felt like so secondary. And look, all right, I'm not a person that's like, oh, this plot holes and the story of Naked Gun is not good enough. It's not like it needs to be Shakespeare or something here. I'm not looking for the most tightly plotted best thing ever. I just think that it was so perfunctory, the story. It was so kind of tossed off that just investing just a little bit, just a little bit more in that could have gone a long way. I mean, what I say in my review here is I compare it to the original Naked Gun movie and how that finale with the baseball game and everything around that baseball game, the queen at the baseball game and all this stuff, that's all tied to the story that it leads to that point. And it's just so much funnier than like a UFC fight or something that, like, it doesn't really even matter that it's a UFC fight and, like, none of that. It's like all kind of, it could be anything. Yeah, it doesn't have, the story doesn't have the same satisfying arc as the first one, which I think if they had just given it that a bit more, it would have been a 5-star, to be honest. I love Akiva Schaffer. Popstar is a constant replay in our home multiple times a year. We watch Popstar Never Stopping over here. And the directing, the style of it and everything, and a lot of the montages and sequences are just spectacular, which is why it left me wanting more, kind of. So yeah, 3.5 on Naked Gun. Now, all right, folks, Criterion Channel has got Altman. There's an Altman collection with almost everything in it. I actually noticed that Shortcuts isn't in it, which is disappointing, but like basically everything else. I'm struggling to think of other things that aren't in it. And so I watched Altman that I hadn't seen before, starring Paul Newman, Buffalo Bill, and the Indians Are Sitting Bull's history lesson. And, kind of bracing for this one because obviously, just look at that title. But that's kind of what the movie's about. And for me, it really worked. This is a divisive one in Altman's catalog, but I really enjoyed it as a very, direct satirization and deconstruction of the Western myth. If I say it like that, it makes me sound less pretentious and stupid. It's a really good time and great spectacle, which is kind of what it's about. It's about how Buffalo Bill created this myth and spectacle of the West through these shows that would then go on to basically be what the first Westerns were all based on, and you know, it basically created the myth of the West that's carried on through to Westerns, and this is a real sort of rewind moment back to that, almost like the genesis of that, and a really critical eye at it. That is also, like, you know, funny and satirical, and then it's got like lots of really amazing actors. My favorite performance is from Burt Lancaster in this. He is so good in this. Every scene with him, I was just like, God, he's one of the best to ever do it. It's just, and Paul Newman's great too, but like, yeah, Burt Lancaster for me steals the movie. And then I did a rewatch of Brewster McCloud because Abby hadn't seen it. Because I think the first time I watched this, I watched it without her. So I was excited to rewatch that, and man, that's just a really, really great time. It's what a wonderful work of absurdity and surrealism, almost just like stream of consciousness kind of storytelling, almost. That's just really entertaining throughout. Great ending. I mean, great. The credits of it, the way that they do the credits, fantastic. And then the weird thing, so a lot of this movie centers and it takes place in the Houston Astrodome, which this would have been, you know, at the height of the Houston Astrodome as what was called the eighth wonder of the world. And actually then, you know, I was just on YouTube the other day looking around, and then it's like a history of the Houston Astrodome, and I was like, it was like the day after we watched the movie, and I was like, oh, well, okay. And so I put it on, it was pretty interesting, and it's talking about how it fell into disrepair and behind code, and when it finally stopped being used at all, and now what the plans to redevelop it is and stuff. And it kind of had a pro developer slant the video, but that was fine. I just kind of like clocked that a bit when they showed their plans or whatever for their mixed use, blah blah blah. It's like, all right, sure, all right, whatever. I don't live in Houston. That doesn't matter to me. Okay, Panic Room. This was a rewatch. I hadn't seen Panic Room since I rented it from Blockbuster Video. Jakey Chains. What's good? I'm going through my Letterboxd diary right now, and I'm up to Panic Room, where I enjoy Panic Room. You know, it's a fun piece of entertainment. I do think it's a lesser Fincher by a good deal. A lot of that, yeah. Oh, if that's all you gotta do, sweeping the floor, if that's all it takes to you know, quickly straighten up the room, you're in good shape. It would be a much tougher deal over this hope. The main thing that made Panic Room not that good to me, one name and one name only, folks. What am I gonna say? Jared Leto. I mean, I never liked Jared Leto. I've never. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. There's one performance of Jared Leto's in recent memory that I can remember being like, I kind of like this. And it was House of Gucci. Just because it was so ridiculous. And everybody was in a different movie in that movie. But I feel like if everyone was in Jared Leto's movie, I would have loved that movie. Oh, I forget even that he's in Fight Club. I mean, it's like a whatever part. But he is like, I mean, the character's, to be fair, the character is written to be obnoxious and an asshole, and he gets killed, and it's great when he gets killed, and you're happy he gets killed. But it's like, he's also just so bad on top of it. And his scene partners are Dwight Yoakam, who's really good. Dwight Yoakam is great in this movie. He's also really good in Crank 2 High Voltage, the Crank movies. But he's like menacing and real scary in this movie. Dwight Yoakam's real good in Panic Room, and then his other scene partner is just some guy named Forrest Whitaker. Not that good of an actor. Just kidding. One of the great actors of his generation. So yeah, he's just real bad. Also, he has cornrows. He has full cornrows. This movie came out in 2002, and the white character has full cornrows, and he's really annoying in the movie, but it's pretty fun, and it has a lot of cool like shots and camera tricks and stuff. And David Fincher is having fun with the camera in the movie, so that part of it I liked a lot. And also Kristen Stewart's really good, and it's kind of crazy how like her acting style's the same. And which some people that think she's bad would be like, yeah, exactly. But it's like, no, she's like genuine on screen. Like, people can't deal with a low energy woman. Like, they don't know what to do. They're like, that must be bad acting because this is a low energy woman. It's like, no, it's a natural, honest representation of a woman who kind of has like a laid back vibe. Just deal with it. It's okay. Anyway, I'm a big K-Stu head. I love Kristen Stewart as an actor, and so it was great to see her in such a young age and being really good. And then of course Jodie Foster is great as well. She's also like, I don't want to sexualize Jodie Foster because that's weird at any age given what like where she came through and everything. But just like all I'm saying is, and so maybe it's more of a judgment on Fincher actually, is that I've never seen more cleavage in a movie starring Jodie Foster. Like, I never thought I would see that. It's like constantly like the focused in, like centered on showing you her cleavage specifically in this movie, which I didn't expect. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just stating that as an observation. No, nothing else. No more on that. Yeah. All right. Winter Kills. This was a weird one. This was weird. Winter Kills. This starred Jeff Bridges. I mean, the cast on this thing is unreal. Directed by William Reichert. Jeff Bridges, John Huston, he's great in the movie too, acting. Anthony Perkins, also great. Eli Wallach, Sterling Hayden, one of my absolute favorite guys. Yeah. Toshiro Mifune. Tosh. Why'd you leave Japan? Why did you want to try to be a Western actor? You could have, like, come on, man. Don't let them, like, try to, like, get you speaking English that you don't really understand, and, like, it's not as good. That was kind of actually a bummer, honestly. I was really excited for Toshiro Mifune, and then he's kind of underutilized, doesn't do anything cool. He's just kind of like a butler. So that was actually that was a bummer part of this movie, was Toshio's, after being really excited seeing him in the credits. One of my absolute favorite guys and actors. But yeah, this movie is yeah, I mean, I like some John Huston movies. I love what is it? Concrete. What is it? What's it called? No, not acting. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, Maltese Falcon. Oh God, he directed 1982. Asphalt Jungle. That's what I was thinking of. I was like Concrete Jungle. I like Asphalt Jungle a lot. But yeah, this movie was weird. It almost like works as like a funny like conspiracy satire. Oh sure, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair, Jakey, and that's true because I love some Sidney Pollack directed movies too, but I also love him like in Michael Crichton. But yeah, I love the Sidney Pollack movie, The Yakuza, actually, starring Robert Mitchum. A great movie. That was written by the Schrager brothers. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Winter Kills. What's interesting about it is that's this kind of ambling noir that's like sort of ends up being not really or like spy like thriller that ends up kind of being a nothing. And I was like, at the end of it, and it stars Jeff Bridges. So at the end of it, I'm like, this really has a lot of Lebowski parallels in a way that it all ends up kind of being a nothing in the same way that Lebowski is. I also did this week listen to, or over the past couple weeks, I started and finished the Blank Check episode about The Big Lebowski with Seth Rogen. It's really good. And so I've been thinking about The Big Lebowski a lot. I don't know Ralph Meeker as much. Wait, what else is Ralph? This guy has a glory. Wait, he's in Paths of Glory? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, yeah, and then... Okay. Oh, and he's also in the Anderson tapes, which I also watched, so we'll get to that. Because... Whew... Folks, I watched Highest to Lowest. What to say? Highest Lowest, my hat is like a shark's fin. I mean, this is a movie I've been watching with great interest, you know? And I've been wanting to like. And I have thought it was a very real possibility because we are partnering, again, Spike Lee with Denzel Washington in a crime thriller. What's the last time that happened? Inside Man. Very good. Very solid movie. Down the middle. Great watch. Not, you know, Clive Owen. Great cast. You know, really tight thriller. Works really well. Cool. And this is taking a proven crime story that's really great. I mean, one of the best crime movies of all time. High and Low. By Akira Kurosawa. The Japanese title translates to Heaven and Hell. And it is based on an American crime novel, King's Ransom by Ed McBain. So there's no reason, and there really has never been any, you know, knowing the movie, you can easily adapt a few things and set it almost anywhere if you wanted to. I think it's a really adaptable story. I mean, it started off as an adaptation. So what happened? What happened here? I think it all starts with Spike Lee said it in the world of hip hop, okay, which in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad adaptation choice. That could certainly work, but it's the reason that I think Spike did this is because he wants to also say something about the culture. And about the changing culture and about an aging man that was once, you know, a mogul at the forefront of the culture who feels is sort of falling behind it and struggling to stay relevant in it. A fine subject to explore in a movie, but again, when you go back to what High and Low is about, does it work with that? I would argue it does not. I would argue that that's not what Kingo Gondo, Toshiro Mifune's character in High and Low's conflict is really about. I don't think that... I mean, I think it's about a man trying to, you know, stand on his own after having, you know, built himself and then all of a sudden feeling... you know, pulled in a different way and you know, having to remember where he came from and all this sort of stuff. And then also just about what brings power and how that's ultimately money and how ultimately the movie leaves him for like 45 minutes at least, like where you almost don't see him at all because the movie becomes about recovering the money and about how the money is the most important thing and that's what's really driving this story. And it's great. and then it comes back to him at the end, and then makes you think about that, and it leaves you kind of unsettled and thinking about it. The final scene where he confronts the kidnapper, played by the man Tsutomu Yamazaki. I mean, like, Tsutomu, he's just the best. We've talked about him actually in a couple movies now, specifically Demon Pond, and there's another one that I'm forgetting, but yeah, I love him. And that final scene, that confrontation, is so good. And so, you know, when the reviews started to come in, I was looking at them, and it never seemed like it was a home run. But there was a lot of stuff of people saying the first half doesn't work, the second half is a lot better. When it gets to, you know, the getting into the like, actual exchange of money, and then from there on and following that, it's really, really good. The scenes with A$AP Rocky and Denzel are really great, and blah 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 blah. Okay, folks, I'm here to tell you, anything like that. And also, this movie, I was so surprised, on Letterboxd has not an insanely high, but a much higher average than you would think. And okay, so we're getting her in the chat now. I spent a lot of last evening apologizing to Abby about this one. There was a point about 2/3 into the movie or so where she was clearly hating it, and I considered for a moment bailing and finishing it later, because I was gonna finish it, but I didn't need to make her. And then but I was like, it's, you know, we'll just keep it on, whatever. And I regretted it. It was the wrong decision to make. I'm apologizing to her now on God's internet, to say I'm sorry that I did not bail on Highest to Lowest sooner. Yeah, you would have been just as mad. I needed to kind of see it. I needed to see the totally necessary final 20 minutes that added so much to this movie. Anyway, so the big problem with Highest to Lowest is, again, Spike Lee grasping so much for the relevance that it's almost, you know, the self-insert is obvious, but the problem is that it seems like he wrote the script in a weekend, never had anybody, like, take another pass at it or something. I don't even think he wrote the script, but it's so bad. They gave somebody, I don't know, and then he just did whatever he wanted on it. And the scenes with A$AP Rocky and Denzel are kind of okay, but also they don't make sense. Like, and again, not to be a CinemaSins guy, but they do these so they do it twice, which, again, in the original, they do it once, and it's so powerful to have them actually face to face. In this, they take that all away by having them first confront each other, and then it just nonsensically escalates into a shootout and a chase sequence with just bullets firing. And that's one of the things where people were like, oh, the way that shot, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, I was too busy just being like, what the fuck is happening? What is this shit? Like, it wasn't shot well enough to make me forget that. Like, I couldn't. And then they have another. Then they randomly put a music video in when he gets sentenced or whatever, and then he's like, part of the plea deal is he wants to meet with you one more time, and blah blah blah. Like, that's part of his plea deal. And so then they have one more meeting. Now, this echoing the original ending of the movie, okay, where it's, you know, in a prison or whatever, and there's the glass separating them, which is how it is in the original. But as he walks into that room, there's all of a sudden a music video where it's like his song and blah, 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 and how he's going to be a big star now because of Spike Lee, old man yells at cloud all over the fucking place. And, yeah, and then they have the confrontation again, and now they want different stuff, but it's like, it just doesn't add anything satisfying. And if it was ever going to, erases any chance of a satisfying ending when it goes on for an additional 15 to 20 minutes, the movie. And within those 15 and 20 minutes, 2 or 3 more times where they easily could have ended. And they just keep it going. They keep it going and keeps it going. You like, can't let the movie end. And so I'm already annoyed at this movie. I'm ready to give it maybe 2 stars. Maybe 1.5 stars. And I'm just like, fuck you, Spike. Like, seriously, you're wasting my goddamn time. You're adapting a classic in a way that it's not just worse than the original, but in all the ways the original is great, yours fails, like, and is terrible. So, like, the original is such a tightly plotted story that, like, it's all starts in one room. The first 45 minutes or so of it are all contained in the living room of this place, and everything in the story unravels and escalates from there. It's like completely just like propulsive, and things are just happening, and you're just gripped because things keep escalating and twisting and turning, and then the cops arrive and all this kind of stuff. And the movie takes its time showing him going to work and showing him taking his son to basketball camp so that they could show that they have, Rick Fox playing himself in this movie. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Some of the worst acting. I mean, people don't sleep. This is what I'm saying. Don't sleep on this movie. Don't sleep on Highest to Lowest, okay? As like awful movie classic of bad, because War of the Worlds is getting all the attention deservedly this summer, but Highest to Lowest goes toe to toe with it. It goes toe to toe. Yeah, you do great. I mean, and if you have Apple TV Plus, it's on there right now, so throw it on. Specifically, the woman got maybe it was directing, and the character certainly is underwritten. As I would argue, she was in the original as well. The character of King Uganda's wife, and here David King's wife, which is Denzel's character. But man, this actress. Oh my God, this actor. Oh my God, truly, so bad. So bad. Her son has been kidnapped, and you would think that it's somebody saying like, that like her card was declined or something, like like I don't know. It's like the most, like, she's like, oh, and I mean, it's all kind of like that. Oh yeah, if it's on somebody's Plex, that's certainly how I watched it. And of course, when I say Plex, I mean I went to my local multiplex that my friend owns. But yeah, I compare it to, because this is Apple TV Plus. Apple TV is likes to, we're very like, hey, if you're, one of our big names, our auteurs that we're bringing in here, we're going to leave you alone. We're going to let you make whatever you want. And Abby, after the movie, said, and I think she had a good point, this is one where you could have used some executive pushback, where you could have been like, can we take some more passes on these scenes? Are we sure with some of this writing? Are we sure that all this stuff is necessary? Can we sort of trim this, that it really could have benefited from that? The people watching the Daily saying, can we replace this actress? Yeah, someone should have stopped this. But compare that to another movie on Apple TV Plus that Denzel starred in, Joel Coen's Macbeth, which was so good. I mean, that was Joel Coen getting to just make whatever he wanted, and he made the most, like, beautiful black and white photography, and Denzel is incredible in that. It's one of my favorite Denzel performances. It's a great cast across the board too. I mean, obviously Frances McDormand, but Brendan Gleeson and all these other great actors. That's when I first saw Catherine Hunter and was just like stunned by her. And yeah, oh my God, who would talk shit about the Coen Macbeth? I loved the Coen Macbeth. I mean, a lot of people want the brothers to get back together, and sure, I would welcome it, but I also would welcome Joel Coen just continuing to adapt Shakespeare in black and white. Like, I would, yes, I'm down. I really love anytime they do black and white photography. It's why I like The Man Who Wasn't There, even though it's kind of not their best, but it looks fantastic because it's in black and white. But yeah, anyway, this is a fail. This is bad in all the ways that, alright, I'm curious for that as well. It can't be worse than what Ethan's been making. Alright, then last night, watched The Last Polka, really, really fun, really laughed a lot at that. Then I watched the Anderson tapes, which was also interesting. I was not so much liking it because I really didn't care for Sean Connery in this movie. He just didn't work for me as the lead for a variety of reasons. Chiefly accent reasons. They kept calling him a limey, but I thought at first he was trying to do an American accent and just being inconsistent with it. So then I think they were like, well, we'll just say he's British, and I think maybe they added some lines about him being a limey or something. But if he's trying to do a British accent, it sounds weird too. They should have just made him Scottish. Like, why not just have him be a Scottish guy? The guy cannot do accents, Sean Connery. He can't. I mean, he won an Oscar for The Untouchables, and he is really good in it. But he's supposed to be doing an Irish accent, and it's terrible. It's terrible. He can't do an accent. He always sounds Scottish. He always sounds like Sean Connery. So I wasn't really loving it. And then the actual heist part of the movie started to happen, and then I thought, oh, that was a lot of fun. Also, Martin Balsam plays a very flamboyant gay man in this movie, which is not the words they use to describe him. Let's just say there's a lot of F-slur in this movie. I'll just be straight up. They say it a lot. And so Martin Balsam is famously a schlubby, like, not gay-coded actor, like, and was not gay in real life. But I thought it was certainly, like, a bit exaggerated. I mean, he's a flamboyant type of character, but I thought he didn't go too far. I didn't find his portrayal necessarily what was offensive, as much as how everybody talked about him and how I think the movie itself was kind of laughing at him. But the characters in the apartment building that it's about them trying to rob an entire building of apartments, and this, like, plan to do it, and that part, it got kind of fun there. So that's why I ended up giving it the 3.5. All right, so that's what I watched this week. So, The Fog. Let's talk about our movie, huh? Let's talk about The Fog. All right. John Carpenter. John Carpenter is a very important man to me, and especially in my film journey that I've been on since. I say, as I've talked about it on this stream, I say that it really started in 2022 when I did my 500 movies in a year challenge, and I ended up watching 560, which was great. And it changed a lot. And I re-engineered my brain so that now I just love movies and everything's better. And there's nothing bad. I don't know what I need a guest. No, it's fine. It's fine. But truthfully, my movie journey started actually just before that, because at the end of 2021, I think it all started with, I believe it was on Dr. Fuzz's stream. He was playing all the John Carpenters, and that was the first time that I actually watched the original Halloween. I hadn't seen that. I'd seen all of the Friday the 13th, which are bad, to be clear. Like, they're most of them are enjoyably bad, but all of them are bad. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, this one's good. No, those movies are bad. And I'd seen, some, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, which some of those are good, some aren't good. But I kind of just, like, put it, and I was like, yeah, it's just another one of those slasher franchises that I'll get to eventually. And then I watched the original Halloween, and I was like, I really saw the filmmaking in it. I mean, and just, John Carpenter's special, man. I call him my favorite auteur that would, if he ever heard me call him an auteur, he might punch me in the mouth. he would hate to be called an auteur, but he is one. He directs, he writes, he does the music. What more do you need? Do you need me to draw you a map? That's an auteur. He's the GOAT. But I think but he bristles at people getting overly artsy-fartsy. Actually, it's funny with the Altman collection is that John Carpenter is an all-time shit talker, and he talks shit about Altman. He hated Altman. He hated Robert Altman because he found him masturbatory, and because Robert Altman was kind of like, let the people talk over each other, and we're kind of finding the movie, and it's kind of a little improvisational, a little, but it's in pursuit of some like artistic end, and that really bugged him. And so even though I love Robert Altman, I find that to be an interesting way to like look at John Carpenter as when I talk about my movie, film, cinema spectrum, right? Yeah, Altman is like the inverse of Howard Hawks, which is John Carpenter's guy. Yeah, John Carpenter is actually in many ways kind of like a formalist that like is really inspired by like the old westerns. I mean, like Assault on Precinct 13 was essentially a modernization of, was it the OK Corral, or I forget the or Rio Bravo. It's one of the big westerns. And those, I talk about my movie film cinema spectrum, which isn't a quality spectrum. It's just like the types of movies. And, John Carpenter's strictly a movie guy, but he is well-versed. He is a master of the cinema stuff. He just doesn't think about it. That's just, he's going to tell the movie, and he's going to do the filming's going to be good. But that's just, he's not overly cute about it or whatever. Like, it's always functional for him of like, what movie are we making? What are we trying to do here? So I watched all of John Carpenter's films actually in the fall of 2021. It also happened to be, I believe, when Blank Check was doing their John Carpenter whatever run miniseries, and so it was fun to kind of also go and then listen to those. And I think that I'd maybe seen like They Live once before, and then but also the ones that I had maybe seen before I rewatched as well, and They Live's my favorite by a lot. The They Live is my favorite. Oh wow, John Carpenter directing Tombstone, that would have been very, very good. I mean, Kurt Russell, that would have been fantastic. But anyway, yeah, Greggy, same. I mean, They Live is one that is my most rewatched John Carpenter as well. That's one of my favorite movies to throw on, and I'll half pay attention to it, or I'll fully pay attention to it, and it just, I love it throughout. It just has such a weird energy to it, and it's so good. And actually, I love that George Buckflower is the first guy killed in this, and Big Trouble in Little China is also amazing. But George Buckflower in They Live is like my favorite performance in that movie, when he comes back in the TV studio or whatever in the end. I really love George Buckflower in They Live. Big Trouble in Little China, actually, funny story. So I watched it, and I think a lot of people have this experience watching Big Trouble in Little China for the first time in, the 2010s, 2020s. Is everybody is saying, okay, this is a movie from 1985 or whenever it came out called Big Trouble in Little China. That's probably going to be really racist, huh? And then you watch it, and in fact, not only is it not really racist at all, it's actually the most featured of like a predominantly Asian cast in meaningful action roles as action heroes that you would see in a major Hollywood film, like not directed by an Asian director or set in an Asian country. Like, and of course, why I bet Jakey loves Big Trouble in Little China, and I think is the real fun of it is the big, buff white guy hero Kurt Russell is kind of an idiot that doesn't really help anything and is just kind of bumbling along for the ride while all this amazing stuff happens around him, and that's also really fun. It's a really fun dynamic. But so I watched this and I'm like, gosh, that was so much fun. I like and so then like a month or so later, I'm at my parents' house and I like put on my movies, my Apple library up on their Apple TV, and I'm like, put on a movie for you. And then I was like, oh, this Big Trouble in Little China is really funny. It's like fun. And, and I put it on for them, and then we leave. And then they call me and they're like, were you kidding with recommending this? This is awful. Kim Cattrall is so bad. And I was like, oh, I love her. I think she's great. I think it's just kind of a style maybe that isn't for you. So anyway, it's been hard to recommend movies to them since I recommended Big Trouble in Little China. I like Starman. That's another one that Abby is not a fan of Starman. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes I'm like, maybe In the Mouth of Madness actually is my favorite. I don't know, or Prince of Darkness, or like, there's so much good stuff there. But The Fog, though, I feel is just kind of overlooked a bit or underrated maybe in his filmography, but I really feel that it's in such a cool era of Carpenter, and such a really honestly like mature and restrained like product, considering that he was still a very young filmmaker. Abby, if you want to let Buster out, I don't want to. I thought that it would be easier with no guests, but actually now I feel that it would be more awkward. I don't know. Now he's abandoned trying to get out, so I don't know. Sorry, that's updates on the cat. So John Carpenter, he makes Halloween. He has a 3-picture deal. Okay, just wondering if you could hear me in the background on a delay on the TV outside. He has a 3-picture deal with this, I forget the name of it's really small production company or whatever, distribution company. Okay, now Chala wants to come out. And this is after Assault on Precinct 13 that he gets this deal. And while he is in England with his then girlfriend, Deborah Hill, promoting Assault on Precinct 13, they visit Stonehenge. And while they are visiting Stonehenge, they see, all this fog and these just like huge banks of fog that you can see the whole like cloud, on the ground. And that's where, the idea first like struck John Carpenter of like, what if there were like beings that would come out of that fog that like they would conceal, or there was some sort of, Abby late on the Starman. She is too busy letting the cats out. She couldn't say that Starman is his creepiest films. Yeah, I like it. I mean, again, I love Jeff Bridges, and he's really good in that. And I think it's a sweet movie. Abby is creeped out by the central premise of Starman. She doesn't like. She can't. It's a no-go for her on the alien taking the form of my dead husband. She's out on it. But I like it. So yeah, and then he makes Halloween, and Halloween is a huge hit. It makes $70 million worldwide on a like $700,000 budget. So that's a really good return. And so it's a huge hit. And so I think he gets a little bit more leeway, but he still doesn't like quite have a huge budget. And it's like at this point, a director could like be like, okay, Halloween is huge for me. What's my next slasher? What's like that's gonna be me. Like that's let me continue on that. But again, the auteur who would be offended by the label, he wanted to go he wanted to make something different. And I think The Fog is such a cool follow-up to Halloween. It is, like, in the way that it's, like, classic horror. It's, like, in the way that Halloween would itself create a new kind of classic horror. It would, like, build on, Texas Chainsaw and Psycho and stuff like that, but crystallize it into, like, the slasher genre in a real way. This, like, continues a horror tradition that predates film itself. It's literally, the movie starts with John Houseman, the actor, telling the ghost story. Yeah, it's the atmosphere and vibes are immaculate. It's so well conceived and executed in a way, but it's like not a straightforward movie. So I listened to the commentary for the first time with John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. I believe it was recorded in the 90s at some point, because at one point he says that he's was just finished filming Village of the Damned in the commentary. So yeah, that's pretty, I don't know what DVDs didn't even exist yet, so I don't know what it was for. It's for the Laserdisc special edition or something. But it was really interesting to hear them talk about it, and how it was a movie that they found in the editing room, or like that's where they really felt that it came together like that. Whereas Halloween is a fairly focused narrative. It's it's either focused on Michael, like in the beginning, mostly on Laurie or her friends a couple of times, or the doctor, Donald Pleasant's character, and sometimes the sheriff, I guess. But it's like, but all of that is still centered around these attacks that are happening, in these specific locations. This is a dispersed fog attacking an entire community. And the way that they are able to just with really, again, they didn't have a huge budget. And so not just with the effects that they did on that budget, but also the cast. You have big name actors at the time in this movie: Hal Holbrook, John Houseman, and Janet Leigh, Hollywood legend, who they got because she's Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. But like, these are like, and like great big actors, and of course Jamie Lee Curtis, who is now a huge, like, just done a huge movie, Halloween, and is on her way to becoming a big star herself. So but they all are kind of, there's not a clear linkage between all of them. They become linked as it goes on, but they're also kind of in their own little way. In some ways, you could say that it's like the horror movie helps create the true community, and replace that with sort of the veneer and the lie that this community has created about itself. But I'm getting ahead of myself into the story a bit with that. So this was their follow-up to Halloween. It didn't do as well as Halloween. I think even... and then after this, the third movie they made for that deal was Escape from New York, which, again, that's another movie that it's not a horror. I don't consider it a horror at all, but it is a great study in creating a really cool, otherworldly, like, out there stuff on a very low budget. And it's, yeah, I love Escape from New York as well. But yeah, like, what they do is, so they have John Houseman in the beginning of the movie. That was one day of shooting. This big actors, they get him for one day. Hal Holbrook is in a lot of this movie. Is a very important character in this movie, but you'll notice that all of the stuff in this that he's in this movie is at the church. It's in this set, which was a interior studio set, I believe. The exterior was shot somewhere else. Maybe he did one day there or something. I don't remember. So he was on set for I think a week or two, and they got all those huge scenes in there. Oh, Adrienne Barbeau. I completely forgot to mention Adrienne Barbeau. And how could I do that? If you go to my Letterboxd, you look at my reviews for this movie. I logged it for the third time this week to promote this stream. And I looked at my previous two reviews, and they're both me just drooling about Adrienne Barbeau, who is so hot in this movie. And it's not like she's sexualized at all. I don't know what it is that she's so hot, but it's just something about her alone as a DJ in that lighthouse, just with her sultry voice on the radio being like, oh, and we got a fog rolling into town from, ooh, man, just something about Adrienne Barbeau. She was John Carpenter's girlfriend at the time. John Carpenter, though, he dates these women and they just stay in his life. Deborah Hill. What more can you say? I mean, and that was the other cool thing about this is it's one of the great collaborations between, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, who are one of the most important film collaborations, at least in popular film, of the last 25 years of the 20th century. I mean, the stuff that they make together is just unbelievable, and she was such a great producer. And so that was why it was really cool that I was like, whoa, they got her on a commentary, because she died in 2005. Actually, one of the last credits she did was that she and John Carpenter both were served as producers on the remake of The Fog, which isn't good. I actually saw the remake first, which made me hesitant to watch it, and of course, it's does all the things the remake does. It's the same thing as highest to lowest. Does all the things the remake does poorly. Oh, okay. Thank you for my Microsoft Defender summary. Windows security. I appreciate it. That's what that sound was. So yeah, this movie is about a fog. It's a ghost story movie. This is the ghost story month. And to me, this again, starting at the campfire, telling it's an extension of that. It grows directly out of that kind of feel of telling a scary story at a campfire or something. It's just the way that when the fog starts rolling in on the first night. So also, here's another interesting thing. I keep doing Trump hands. I don't know why. I'm just so gestural, and I'm like, eh. Did you know that this movie is a 420 movie? It is a 420 movie. It takes place on April 20th and April 21st. So technically, yeah, so I think on the midnight it becomes April 20th, the first night, and then it becomes April 20th, and then the second night is technically just past midnight. But when Hal Holbrook is, in the church talking to Janet Leigh about the curse and all this stuff that he finds in this diary, that you gotta have a grandfather who writes out, this is exactly how he fucked up, in a journal that you can find. It's really important. And that happened on April 20th of 1880. Yeah, so think about that. Next 420, everybody. And it's a fog. You're blowing clouds kind of thing. Maybe you're vaping. Or you're just big smoke cloud. So create your own fog for the fog and watch the fog on the next 420. But when that midnight on 420 hits, and the fog is doing its first rolling in, claims its first victims out at sea, I really love how it starts off by showing the impacts it starts having on the town, where it just starts freaking everybody out the first night. It's almost like the warning shots, and it fucks up the gas station where all the cars start honking and all the shit is shaking around. And it's such a cool way, you think about a haunted house, and it's haunting being an ambient energy that comes and it can haunt a whole community, and it gives you just a taste of it at the beginning, and then it builds to this sort of gory climax, which was added in. That's the other thing. After the success of Halloween, you know, they watched the movie. They're like, you know, it does need more gore. Like it actually, a lot of it was originally more suggested and more like, it's scarier to imagine kind of stuff, what's happening. And they're like, well, no, we need some blades going through people's torsos and, like, you know, spikes to the eye and stuff like that, and hooks going into people's necks. So they did go back and shoot a lot of that. But one of my favorite jokes from George Buck Flower, the first victim, or one of the first victims of the fog, is that Adrienne Barbeau gets word of the fog, so she's on the radio, and they're all openly horny for her listening to the radio on the boat, and she's like, oh, watch out for a fog bank, got word of a fog bank out there, watch out for that. And it's George Buck Flower just keeps going, there's no fog bank out there. There's no fog bank out there. There's no fog bank out there. And then, like, the next cut is, like, all of a sudden, glowing fog showing up over the horizon and coming, and then just cuts back and he goes, there's a fog bank out there. It's so good. Oh, gosh. And then so then they add in those gory boat deaths. And then we spend the next day in town, like, you know, them discovering all this stuff. And the source of all of what the fog is and the haunt and why this fog is haunting them all is 100 years ago, this town was sort of founded, and they're having their, you know, centennial founding celebration or whatever. And the founding myth of the town is that there was a boat crash that brought the town together, and that's when they really formed a community, and that was sort of like the basis of it. But what actually happened was that they knew that this boat was it was a wealthy lord who had some who had leprosy, and he had other lepers, and he was looking to form a leper colony nearby where this loose, you know, community was staying. And the 6 founders of the town met in secret on midnight on April 20th or whatever. And they said, we are going to set a campfire on the rocks that they'll think is the lighthouse, and make it crash so that they all die. And then we'll raid the boat and take their gold, and we will use that gold to found the town. And that's the real story of how the town was founded. And the great-grandfather of Hal Holbrook, who is now a priest, Father Malone, was like the leader of all of this. And so he finds the journal that has all this confessed in it, and he tells Janet Leigh, who is also a descendant of one of the founders, I think, and is like a wealthy lady whose husband was one of the fishermen who gets killed in the first night. And yeah, so they that's kind of like where they realize. And when the second night hits, and it all's kind of escalating, I literally just watched it, actually, just before starting. And I'm like, you know, of course it feels corny to say this, but I think that the protagonist of this movie is the fog. Because, like, once that, like, starts coming in, it's like, you get the sense of, like, it's spreading through the community, and there's so many really awesome shots of, you know, this cumulus cloud coming, like, directly, like, and it's always glowing, as they say, and it just looks so good. I mean, and what better way to be like, I'm gonna make an atmospheric movie about fog? Yeah, that's gonna work. I mean, if you shoot it right, and, like, fog is atmospheric as fuck. I mean, literally, it is atmosphere. It's visible atmosphere. So, like, and that it does get at a kind of horror. I mean, I always say that, like, a really good horror film needs to have the, you know, maybe the creator isn't consciously thinking about it making it, but it has to get at some sort of potent metaphor that is some kind of universal terror in all of us. And this idea of something being hidden that you can't see, that's like lurking, that can just appear, that you can't, that's dispersed, that you can't like grab onto, that you have no, like, it makes no earthly sense because it's otherworldly, right? Like, that is, and that it's also like a a punishment for the sins of our fathers kind of thing, right? Because we know, and it's interesting that this movie came out in 1980, 4 years after the bicentennial. We know the founding kind of like myths, sorry to do critical race theory and wokeism on my stream here, but we know the founding myths of stealing of how we actually founded this country, and stealing the land and the slavery and all the darkness that was tied into that. But we tend not to think about that. We tend to, or at least at the time we used to, embrace the more comforting myth. And I think that's kind of the fog is, the reality coming to sort of collect on the people who have been telling that myth. Because the fog is here to kill 6 people. 6 must die, as the sign says. Because that was the number of people that hatched the original scheme, basically. And so, yeah, it comes in and it claims it's 6. And that's the movie. I mean, it looks so good. I mean, and then when it really ratchets up the terror, when everybody except for Adrienne Barbeau congregates in the old church, and then they get confronted with these ghosts. Again, they didn't have a lot of budget. They did miniature shots in this movie. They used a lot of dry ice and stuff like that. They did, like, there's a really cool shot when the fog first is invading the boat in the beginning, and you see the fog like seep up like the side of the vent of this boat or whatever to get in, and it like looks like it's like crawling up the side and in, and you're like, how do they do that? And on the commentary, John Carpenter's like, yeah, that was just a reverse shot. And you're like, oh, of course it's just they have dry ice on the other side, and then they're playing the footage backwards as it's spilling out. But it, like, again, it doesn't matter because like it's successful. Like all these atmospheric like tool, like the things that they do and the way that they shoot what are essentially like the crew members in shadow wearing like raincoats or whatever, to when you finally are confronted with the ghosts. Like there's only one that really has like any real detail in what you see, but it's like so stunningly shot. And when they have the confrontation where they're holding the golden cross with Hal Holbrook, and the way that that's lit, and it's just like so like, and again, it's all built to this. It's all so unsettling. And then when it finally comes to the confrontation, and then it releases that pressure, only to then, of course, classic John Carpenter final shot of Hal Holbrook getting it. He thought he got away, but no, they needed the 6th. He was the 6th. He couldn't get away. And it's just a stunning, like, just everything about it is so well shot. Let's see, but let me look through my notes here to see if there's anything else. Okay, so we have the Carpenter cameo up top, of course. He actually, I say of course, he, on the commentary even says that after that, he's like, I didn't like doing this. I stopped doing it in my movies. He only does it, like, there's a couple of times where you can see him in the background or something, but, like, he doesn't like to do the director cameo. So, he's right in the beginning working for in the church. But besides, acting in the anthology movie Body Bags, he usually doesn't appear in his movies after this, especially. So yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. So keep in mind, Halloween comes out in 1978. This comes out in 1980. 1978, she's playing a high school student babysitter. It's, obviously a lot in that movie's tied up with, like, and it's been written about by smarter people than me, sexual activity of these, teens, and there's never any parents in the movie, and everybody's just kind of running around having sex willy-nilly, and then Lori is more virginal, I guess you could say, so she's more pure. And then I'm talking in pop cultural terms. Don't read into my own beliefs, which is not that. So she wanted to do something, like, she asked John Carpenter to do something completely different in this movie, and so now she's playing a hitchhiker who immediately has sex with Tom Atkins, who's like 20 years older than her, and it's like, okay, Jamie Lee, all right, that's fine, but she's fun in the movie. She's kind of game for whatever and just kind of having a good time. Tom Atkins, great in this movie. He's also just always kind of that guy type of guy. And he's a great anchor. One of the character anchors in the movie, again, that I say is sort of dispersed, like the fog. I did want to make sure I said this, so basically back to the founding myth of why the town is founded is actually because these 6 town founders were NIMBYs for lepers. So write that down. Miniature uses. The John Carpenter did a lot of naming people after his friends and stuff. The name of the boat is the Elizabeth Dane, and Elizabeth was an ex-girlfriend of his or something, so like even that. But there's literally a character, the weatherman character in this movie is named Dan O'Bannon, which, if you know anything about sci-fi movies of this this period, Dan O'Bannon's one of the most, I think, important names to know. Co-wrote Alien and Total Recall, just one of the just all-time guys. But he's, of course, a film school friend of John Carpenter, co-stars in Dark Star, and does special effects work in that as well. And he is, he's one of the all-time guys, so I think it's really great to have Dan O'Bannon in here as a character who gets killed. The radio station that Adrian Barbeau runs is playing old jazz because it was much cheaper than getting any kind of rock or pop music, even from like 20 years ago or whatever. It's like so expensive to buy the rights for pop music. And I think that was the notes that I had for the fog. Now, I forgot about my segment, so I don't have recommendations. If you like the fog, watch the rest of John Carpenter's movies. All right, just watch John Carpenter movies. And again, we aren't done with John Carpenter. John Carpenter, of course, will return on the stream many times, but specifically, we will do The Thing next month. The Thing will be done next month. Just a question of when. So look out for that. And that's been the fog. But guess what, folks? I'm solo streaming. And I'm not done. Cue the Wolf of Wall Street Leo gif. I'm not fucking going. I'm not fucking going. I'm not fucking going. That's right. You know what? I was like, hey, if I'm going to be here alone, doing the stream by myself, I'm going to do the Dulls. Alright? I'm going to do the movie Dulls. So hang out with me while I just do some games, and then I'll call it a stream. But when we do solo stream, I'll play the Dulls. How about that? So if it's a solo, you could be like, well, I'll watch him play the games that Northern Lion usually plays, but he doesn't play these ones because this is Saturday. So there you go. Alright. 2007 Lionsgate, October 12th, 21 million. Give me an actor. Oh, okay. 2000. Is this Diary of a Mad Black Woman? No. Okay. Is it Medea Goes to? No. 2007. Why Did I Get Married? Yes! That's good. 160 points on that. All right. 2000. Okay. All right. I'm remembering where I was now. Disney 2007. I think it's Princess and the Frog. No. Okay. Dwayne Johnson. Is that the Tooth Fairy? Or is it like... half his size, twice the trouble, and she's moving in. It's like he plays like a manny, like a man nanny, the sitter or something. No, I don't think that's right. Yeah, man, I don't know. Madison Pettis, Kira Sedgwick. Yeah, reveal all hands. I don't know what this is called. I don't know what this is called. The Game Plan. I wasn't gonna get that. All right, Sony Pictures. 10 million first weekend. Joaquin Phoenix. 2007. Joaquin Phoenix. And Mark Wahlberg. Okay. Is this Four Brothers? No. Joaquin Phoenix billed first and then Mark Wahlberg. Ooh, it's a James Gray. Oh. I don't know James Gray's movies. I wish I'd watched it. Yeah, I don't remember what this one's called. I don't remember what it's called. We Own the Night. I was also not going to get We Own the Night. Okay. Warner Brothers. Oh, it's gone up? Oh, okay, so it had a limited release and now it's going a bit wider. Clooney, 2007. Fuck. Oh, wait. I'm so stupid. Guys, I'm stupid. It was Michael Clayton. Okay. All right. Got 160 off of that at least. Okay. Paramount. Okay, it's been out. Oh, no, this is the second week. Big drop. Ben Stiller. It's not Meet the Fockers. Oh! This is the remake of The Heartbreak Kid. Whew! 70th percentile. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Moving on. Okay, this is... I'm really excited for this. This is my favorite doll. And Northern Lion does not even play this one. Shut the... Go away. So... This is actoral. We get an actor's filmography. As in, we know that this person made their debut in a movie from 1999 that had this many letters in the title. It has a 6.3 rating on IMDb, and it's a comedy thriller. It's a strange mix. And anyway, you can see all the IMDb ratings, the genre of the movie, and how many letters are in it. And let's see. So this person debuted in 1999. Last movie was 2023, a comedy drama that got 6.5. 444. 2022. Beep, beep, beep. Fantasy action comedy. Okay. So what are some of the highlights? All right, 7.9. Comedy war drama 2019. 2019 comedy war drama. What? Okay, let's keep going. 7.8 adventure comedy drama 2016. Action adventure science fiction 2017 7.9. .4 2019. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man. Okay. It's tough to know where to start. Okay. 1999, were they like a kid? Then? Were they young? The first stuff was not very good. 2010 though, a 3-letter comedy drama from 2010. That was pretty good. It was a 7.5. Comedy horror 2014. 4-letter 2223. All right, this is when I just start seeing if an actor has worked in these. Guess an actor who's in lots of things. Okay. So they're younger than 76 years old. What Samuel L. Jackson movies? Avengers Endgame. That's big. Okay. Who's just in Endgame? Because then they weren't in Infinity War or what else? Oh, God. Okay. Sometimes I get it in one guess and it's easy, and sometimes I agonize over it. And this is an agonizing one. Adventure comedy drama 7.8 2016. And the I feel like I got this 2010 3-letter one before, and now I'm forgetting what it is. Oh God, I'm flailing. Oh. No. I was like, is it Tessa Thompson? Natalie Portman. They're older than Natalie Portman. Okay, that's good. That's good info. Older than Natalie Portman, younger than Samuel L. Jackson. Thor, Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok. He's riffing on a level never before seen. Boy, some fucking New Zealand or Australian shit. Fuck off. All right. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So we got Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper. I'm thinking Josh Brolin's probably the way to. Although Benedict Wong is also in everything. Okay. No, I am going to go Benedict Wong. We're trying to get to Ryan Gosling or Bradley Cooper or Ava Mendes. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, sorry. Oh, here, I'll just search. There's too many fucking people in this one. All right. What's the shortest possible? Show me the shortest possible. Let me see it. All right, I was not gonna fucking get the Farewell to Ozark Harris Yulin connection, so I'll feel pretty good about. That's pretty good. Oh, it's the same amount, really. Anyway. Okay. Cinematrix. Let's go. Alright. No, I will do Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. 21%. Alright. Double letters in title. Show me. Oh, wait, no, not possession. What's it called? Oh, wait, is it? No. What was the movie that she was in this year? The Steven Soderbergh? Ghost Story? Ghost Story movie? Presence. Okay, that doesn't have a double letter. Okay, well then. Kill Bill's gonna be so obvious. Is she in anything else? I'll just do Kill Bill. And I'm gonna guess Charlie's Angels one for this. Okay, I did real bad there. Oh man, oh no. They're trying to get me. We're gonna say The Mask for this one. 33%. Okay, well. $68%. God, I am fucking this up. I'm doing so bad. Oh, God. All right. There we go. Batman Forever. People forget. why was she in that? I remember as a kid being like, why is she in this movie in such a small part? Like, I was a child. She's just one of Two-Face's girlfriends. She's the sweet one. I think it's Debbie Mazar, the more dominatrix one. I don't just want to... Okay. Drew Barrymore movies. Ah. All right. Okay. I did okay on the Drew row. I did pretty good there. Now, punctuation mark and title, Cameron Diaz. So I put the mask here. What other Cameron? Oh, this is also going to be a big one, but I just want to get through this. Yeah, 57%. Okay. Gangs of New York doesn't have double letters. Cameron Diaz. I don't know. What's she in? Bad Teacher? I should have done that for the 100 million plus box office. I bet you that would have done better. I don't know. I don't know whether to slit my wrists or leave them long. Is it that? Okay. Vanilla Sky! Well, that's the most popular one. Never Been Kissed. Okay. Now. What the fuck? Someone Comes to Hollywood? Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Codename The Cleaner was Rivera's correct answer for Lucy Liu. Damn, I wish I knew Codename The Cleaner. Oh, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods was actually... Wow, that made over 100 million. And it was still a massive failure. Very cool. All right. Clint Eastwood, director or actor. Sharon Stone, Russell Crowe. All right, let's go. Oh, wow. 33% of people said The Mule? Oh, I should have gone further back. All right. 33% of people won't say Jersey Boys for a 2-word title. Yes, 1.2%. There we go. There we go. And then, I won't say for the good, the bad, and the ugly, but for a few dollars more. $5.1. All right. All right. The Mule let me down, but these two are good. Okay, Sharon Stone. 1-word title. Casino's probably going to be a lot. But what about The Muse, Albert Brooks? 2.3%. Let's go. All right. 2-word title. Basic Instinct is going to be like the number one answer. 2-word title. I also believe Total Recall would also probably be a lot. Oh, I should have said Catwoman. Oh, Catwoman I bet you would have been a lot too. Well, my 1-word title for Russell Crowe is also going to be Virtuosity. my favorite Russell Crowe performances. Yeah, 6.4%, not bad. Trying to think more. I mean, obviously Sharon Stone is in lots of stuff. I'm just blanking. You know what, I am just gonna say something cool. Yeah, 19.3. Not terrible. 3 or more word title. I mean, like, there's, like, she's, like, always doing, like, cameos and stuff. Is there a movie that she, like, does a cameo in? What else is, I'm watching the viewers just go down one by one. This is not the content people want to see. Oh. Wow, 32% for The Quick and the Dead. Damn. All right. Well, Russell Crowe. I know Russell Crowe's filmography. So let's see. Les Mis is probably high. Nice Guys is probably high. Ignore the for 2-word title, or no? It doesn't say ignore the, so I don't know if Pope's Exorcist would count. Do the Pope's Exorcist. Thor: Love and Thunder, 9.8. Okay. Top 13% of players. All right, I'll take it. Okay. Final game. Final game I've got lined up here. Framed. What's that? No, that's not one of the options. It's like 1990s, clearly. LA. It's not Shortcuts or like, I don't know. No, not Sons of Beverly Hills. A dog, guy kicking thing. Oh wait, is it Richard Gere? Is it American Gigolo? No. What the hell is this? Something. Something's got to give. I know it's not that. It is Richard Gere, and you're telling me it's not? It's called American Gigolo, right? I've seen this movie, the Paul Schrader movie. What else could it be? What the hell? Hey, Belio, what's up? That's right. This is my Wrecking Fountain hat. I'll show you my Wrecking Fountain shirt as well in honor of our director of the fog. Very cool shirt. I love this shirt. Just trying to figure out what Richard Gere movie this could be. I don't know. I know it's not Days of Heaven. 500 Days of Summer. Breathless. Don't know. Didn't even have American Gigolo in there, but they've done Breathless, apparently, on Framed. I don't like Framed. Anyway. Went out with a whimper on this one, but I think it was good, because I just needed to do... I talked so much for the first 90 minutes of this one. Because it was all me. But it was a lot of fun. I liked it, actually. I'll be happy to do this again. I'll perfect if we do a solo stream. But next week, we won't be doing a solo stream. Next week, I do have a guest. A return guest. The very first guest on the Good Movie Chat About, Alex Kleiner. He might remember from the Balloon Boy stream as the radio announcer and Southern lawyer. One of my oldest friends. He'll be joining as we continue Spooktember. Ghost Story movies, and we will be talking about The Others, a movie I have not seen since it came out, but I'm excited to rewatch. Because Alex and I both love Nicole Kidman a lot, so that'll be fun. So look forward to The Others next weekend. Yeah, and that's gonna be about it for this one. Yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of your weekend. And, we'll catch you next time. So yeah. I guess, later. Toronto, Cannes, Berlin, and Sundance, everybody chat about good movies, chat about.